In this video, we're looking at the subject of politics, and we want to understand what politics means. Politics is a very important word, and it's been used very frequently, especially during the political season. And oftentimes people ask the question, what is politics? And in this class, we're also looking at this very question, what is politics? Because politics really is the core of the political establishments in the different aspects of politicking. And so it's important to understand this core concept of politics. All right, to understand this then, we want to look at the meaning of the word politics. And it's a Greek word, right? And politics, right? Not spelled this way, but politic with a K, is a Greek word. And it means the affairs, right? So politics, and it means the affairs of the cities. What is affair here in this context? It means the business, right? So the business, this is business, right, of the city, the ongoings in the city, and anything pertaining to the cities and so forth. That's what it means, right? So it has to do with activities that are closely associated with group decision making. That's politics, right? So politics has everything to do with group. This is group right here, right? The group decision making, right? How groups make decisions, right? What are the factors that are considered? What is the process that the group uses to make decisions? All of these things are part of the concept of politics. Please take note of this. This is a very important aspect that we're discussing. And it says here, let me just repeat this because this is the core and the foundation of the idea of politics. The affairs of the cities has to do with activities, right, that are closely associated with group decision making. Now, the other question we should be asking is, what do we mean by activities, right? What do you mean by activities? Now, activities could be the process of running for office, for example, right? So campaign, it could be campaign. This is campaign. It could be campaign. It could be lobbying, right? That's an activity. It could be lobbying. Or it could be the process of lawmaking, right? These are some examples of activities, right? So when we say it has to do with the activities that are closely associated with group decision making, right? Campaign has to do with group, lobbying has to do with group, lawmaking has to do with group, and many other examples that we could be using here as well. It also has to do with the dynamism of power. Politics is all about power, right? So let's put that here. So politics equals to power. What does that mean? Right? It means that politics is a means to gaining power. Politicians use politics to gain power. When they're in office, they have power. And the process of getting to office is politics because it has a lot to do with group. It has a lot to do with decision making, etc. So politics is power, right? So it also has to do with the dynamism of power in society within the context of resources or status, right? So resources give you power, status give you power as well. If you have money, this is money, right? This is money. If you have money, you have, human capital. This is human capital. All those resources, they give you power. You have power, right? If you have status, you are you're a senator, for example. You're a governor, for example. This is governor. You have power. That gives you power. Status gives you power, right? So here it says it often involves negotiations. Politics involves negotiations, and that's the group that we're talking about. The group dynamism that we're talking about involves negotiations, relationships. You cannot be successful in politics without forging relationships, without creating relationships and partnerships and alliances and bargaining your positions, right, on certain issues, and making sure you're bargaining and gaining leverage. You're compromising here, you're compromising there, you get this, you get that, you lose this, and so forth, bargaining. You compromise and the interplay of power, position, and influence. This is the concept of politics. It's a very important word, and it tells us how society is run from the political perspective. Politics, which in Greek means the affairs of the city. Actually, let's take this again. Let's clean this up and take this again. Politics, which in Greek means the affairs of the cities, has to do with activities, right? And we give example of those activities. Lawmaking, for example, lobbying, for example, all activities, that are closely associated with group decision making. And politics is all about group, right? You cannot engage in politics by yourself. It involves back and forth, and group decision making. Campaigns are groups. We talk about legislatures are groups, executives are groups, and so forth. It also has to do with the dynamism of power in society within the context of resources or status, right? You have to have resources, right? Resources give you power. Give example of money. Give example of human capital. Give example of access to information, for example. Status give you power as well. You're a governor, you're a senator, you're a member of the parliament, you're a minister, government minister. All of those things give you power. It often involves negotiations, very important point here, relationships, alliance, bargaining, compromise, and the interplay of power, position, and influence. This is the meaning of politics. If you're in politics, you are doing all of these things. If you're in politics, you're negotiating. If you're in politics, you have relationships. You have partnerships in your party, your partnerships across the aisle in other parties, because you cannot get anything done if you don't create those partnerships. Those broad-based partnerships are very important in politics. Alliances and bargaining, you're always bargaining your position. Sometimes you compromise and you sometimes you get and you give, and that's what this means here. Compromise your position sometimes, and the interplay of power, position, and influence.